My name is Lucinda Gallant and I'm a singer and songwriter based in London. I decided to have a photo shoot because I'm just coming back to my creative music making after a bit of a break, and I wanted some photos to publicise my music, and the shots will be used on possibly a website and some other kind of social media outlets. I found the photographer Matthew Joseph through a friend, through another singer. So I guess you could say through word of mouth.
I'm Matthew Joseph. I'm a photographer, a commercial photographer based here in London. When sourcing a photographer, what's the most important thing is going to be their experience as a photographer. Does it marry up with what you do as an artist? And do you think from looking at their portfolio that they can understand what you do as an artist in your genre and take it forward visually? Word of mouth is just the best marketing tool for a photographer, so that's going to be the best way for you to source one. Put an ad out on Facebook, on Twitter. Does anyone recommend any photographers? And then if it's someone you know, someone you trust has used this photographer, then that's a great place to start. Also, look at their work, their portfolio. If it's a music client, the most useful thing that I find that I really want to know is I want to hear their music. I'm a musician myself. That's going to get me into their mindset.
When it came to choosing the location of the shoot, I wanted to do as many as I could in my own environment. So we chose this studio, which is where I do most of my work. And there are also other opportunities here outside, and there's a photographic studio also in the building.
When it comes to money and photography, it's kind of just an open book. It's how much do you want to pay, what do you want to get out at the end of it. It's kind of the thing that people don't like talking about too much, but you could start at £50 through an enthusiast who wants to get into photography. You're going to get results that are maybe that good. You could spend £500 and you're there. You could spend 20 grand, it's up there, but it might not be the result you want. How much you want to spend is not always relevant to the results you'll get at the end of it, because the most important thing is the photographer understanding the subject. If you're an unsigned artist and you're spending around £200 to £500, you should be putting yourself in a good position with the results. Before a shoot, speaking to the artist, the subject, is very important. Emails are great, but speaking on the phone or meeting in person is great. Just to understand their vision, what they're wanting to get out of the shoot, what the photos are going to be used for, the style they want. It's not just the photographer that the subject should be thinking about. Booking a makeup artist is very important.
People have asked me why you should use a professional makeup artist as opposed to either doing your own makeup for a photo shoot or having a friend do it. Obviously, a professional has been trained and we know how to see how the light and the camera and things affect how the makeup comes across, as opposed to how you would normally do your makeup just to go outside or go out in the evening. Also, having just a friend do it, people tend to do their makeup in the way that they would do it on themselves, as opposed to how you would do it to suit somebody's face. And that also links in with things like contouring and highlighting, and people don't tend to do that on themselves and don't know how to do it.
Having that third party looking on it, who's a professional, who's there purely just to get you looking as good as possible, is just so important. And that's not just at the beginning, but as the shoot goes on, it's touch-ups. They'll notice something that I won't notice, that you won't notice, and they'll just get in there and fix it.
I'm delighted to have somebody do my makeup for me, because one of the reasons I don't wear it is because I'm not very good at it. And I think it's very important in a shoot to have your makeup done, to have your look sort of enhanced.
Bear in mind that there are lots of different fields within the makeup industry, and you obviously want to go for somebody who is working in photo shoots, working potentially with musicians.
They all have different approaches, and it's not just about what they do with their craft, but how they relate to you. And just like with the photographer understanding you, the makeup artist needs to understand you as well.
Looking at a makeup artist's portfolio will give a good indication of the style of work that they do. So obviously if it's quite dramatic, that's their sort of preferred style. However, that doesn't necessarily mean that they're not capable of doing something more natural. If they're sort of trying to convince you but you're not sold, then maybe have a trial run with them so you know exactly what you're getting at the end of the day. When looking for a makeup artist, I personally find the best way is through word of mouth. If you know somebody who's already had an experience, worked with this person before, then you have a better understanding of what you're getting. When it comes to finding the right price, it can range from a tiny amount to a huge amount, from sort of £50 to £1,000. It depends on the experience of the artist. Going to sort of some of the makeup schools in London or near where you live, and seeing if there are people that just want to get experience by doing it, because just because they don't have the experience yet doesn't mean that they're not talented and they're not good at what they do. These days most makeup artists do hair as well. However, if you want a really extravagant, elaborate hairstyle, you're probably better off going with a hairstylist as well. Don't expect a makeup artist to be able to help with wardrobe and styling, because it's not their expertise, and they may not have a very good understanding of what you want in that area. Once you've made your decision on which makeup artist you're going to use, it can be beneficial for the artist to know things like if you're allergic to anything, and things like your skin colour, what your hair's like if you're also having your hair done by them, and potentially even what you're going to be wearing, because if you're wearing sort of things like underwear or limited amount of clothing, then you will need some form of body makeup, whether it's just moisturising or whatever. But it's good for the artist to sort of know these things. And also if you want things like your nails painted, then just any tiny detail that you can kind of think of. And if you have any questions, ask them, because it's better that you're both as prepared as can be than you sort of make an assumption and get it wrong.
So a really big essential part of ensuring a shoot goes well is just planning. It's preparation and planning. You don't necessarily have to stick to that plan, because improvisation is a big part of my work, but having that to fall back on, knowing how many looks you want to get, how much time you want to set aside for things, is really key to ensuring the shoot is a success.